Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Austin Smith's very own book talk. This evening I'll be talking about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Overall, I found the book to be very enjoyable and I would recommend it to a lot of people. A brief summary of the book: it follows Dr. Jekyll as he tries to eliminate his own dark side, as he's a very tortured person and he's tired of dealing with this, so he creates potions and medicines to try and get rid of his depression, basically. However, this ends up biting him in the butt and it eventually overtakes him. One of the most enjoyable parts of this book was the characters, I believe. Dr. Jekyll, for one, is a very respectable human being. He's a very intelligent scientist. However, despite his reputation among the community in the book, he also participates in some corrupt actions, I should say, and the fact that he creates medicine to try and relieve himself of his own symptoms instead of seeing another doctor, perhaps. There's also Mr. Hyde, which is Dr. Jekyll's alter ego, and he is basically a very violent beast who creates crimes just for the heck of doing it. So I found that character to be pretty interesting. There's Mr. Utterson, who is a lawyer who inquires about Mr. Hyde to Dr. Jekyll. And there's Dr. Lanyon, who is a foil to Dr. Jekyll in the fact that Dr. Lanyon is a very rational and logical person, while as you can tell from Dr. Jekyll, he believes in a lot of the irrational and supernatural stuff. I also enjoyed the symbols within the book, which is pretty surprising. One of the symbols that stood out to me was Dr. Jekyll's house and his slab. His house is very well maintained, it's very nice. Just like Dr. Jekyll, he's a very respectable human being, while his slab is very sinister looking and very creepy, just like Mr. Hyde is. And there's also Mr. Hyde himself, which represents basically how humans suppress their own natural instincts as if they were in the wild. And I also enjoyed the plot. What I enjoyed the most out of all this was the plot. I found it to be very engrossing. I actually couldn't put the book down and I managed to finish it in one sitting. What I enjoyed least was the resolution, because it basically ends on sort of a cliffhanger. Dr. Jekyll basically leaves a note that he's going to eventually be overtaken by Mr. Hyde, and what happens to Mr. Hyde beyond that is not very clear. Dr. Jekyll claims that he may commit suicide or be put in jail for his crimes, but what happens after that is a complete mystery, and I did not enjoy that because this does not have any sequels to explain anything. It's a single book. Final thoughts on the book: I found it to be very enjoyable, as I said before. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that is not in at least high school, as the vocabulary in the book is very high level, and I think that would cause problems for people who aren't in at least 9th grade.